are at Wofford College in upstate South Carolina, here at one of the student dining facilities where they've installed luxury vinyl tile, or LVT. Jim, is LVT the most popular flooring that we see nowadays?
Absolutely. Actually, it's been growing in the industry for a number of years. One of the key reasons why it's so popular is a no floor finish or no waxed floor, which means now that you don't need to apply floor finish, you don't need to use stripping solution, you don't need to use any more floor finish or purchase any recoating. We also see the reason why it's very, very popular is workers' comp claims have gone down exponentially because that process has been eliminated. The other key component environmentally is we're no longer using water in regards to the stripping solutions and cleaning things up all the time. So it's been a really big impact, not only on the facilities in regards to labor, time, resources, but also we're seeing that the floor, when properly maintained, is a very, very efficient way to keep a facility going.
So a really popular type of flooring. What are some of the best practices when it comes to care and maintenance of an LVT floor?
That's a good question. And the reason is because a lot of times we see people utilizing aggregate types of floor pads, your traditional floor pads, the white, the red, the blues, the greens, all those types of floor pads are usually have some sort of an aggregate or grit in it that they try to clean the floors. And with these types of LVTs or even the sheet goods, there's an embossing or there's a texture to it. There's a high and a low. And when you have the high lows, the traditional pads just sit on top and don't get into that texture and embossing.
Very good. Now, this particular floor has a lot of traffic, a lot of students in and out every day. Is it easy to see when a floor like this is clean or dirty, or how do we tell if it's truly being cleaned?
We've seen where, because these floors have a matte or satin look to it, what happens is the floor reflects back up every little speck of dust, dirt, spill. You have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches get spilt, and they don't land sandwich side down, they land
always jelly side down.
That's the way it is. Murphy's Law, of course.
Right.
But so yes, you see it, especially when you have light sources. Facilities nowadays, they have windows from the floor all the way to the ceiling. And when you have that type of a situation, you have a lot of light reflecting in. So yes, you can see spills, spots, dirt, debris very easily.
Very good. Well, let's do some demonstrations so we can kind of show what we're talking about with some of our audience.
I'm all in. Let's get going.
All right. So Jim, we've got a high traffic area right here, LVT flooring. We've got kind of a common issue. We've got some buildup, some spills right here.
Yep.
Walk us through this process of cleaning.
So this is the epitome of all the challenges that we see when you maintaining any type of LVT type of flooring, or we'll call it factory coated floor. There's a factory coating on these floors that are shipped to the facility. It's already ready to go, ready to install it. They install it and it's ready to be used. So we're maintaining the factory applied coating. And what we see here is this is, an entrance from, a set of stairs from the main entry to the dining area. Here we have coffee spills, we have things that are spilled, and it's in between the process of maintaining the area. So, they could have they cleaned this whole area up. It looked absolutely perfect at the night shift when they were finished. Looks great, right? Everything opens up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and now we start seeing these types of things going on. It's not that the staff isn't maintaining or cleaning the floor. It's just that this is one of the major challenges.
It's wear and tear, right?
It's
everyday
daily operation stuff. But one of the challenges that we see is this spill gets into the embossing and texture, or into between the lines or the seams. So sometimes traditional pads are not able to reach into those embossing and textures to get that soil removed and out of that.
Okay. So our first step in cleaning this is?
Most of the time when we use the contact pads, reaches into that, we see success a lot of times with just plain water. If there's chemistry that does need to be used, sometimes a little bit of a pH neutral cleaner with a dilution rate of 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce per gallon of water. It's more than enough to keep this clean.
Sounds good. Let's clean it. All right, Jim, we're going to clean this area right here. Tell us what we've got to clean the floor.
Sure, we have one of the popular auto scrubbers that that's in the industry. It's a 10-inch. It's a 20-inch. Currently, right now, there's just plain water in the machine. Nothing else is turned on, and we're going to start with using what?
Yeah, so we're going to put on the Durham microfiber scrub pad to our auto scrubber. A lot of times in the industry, you will see more abrasive pads. This is one of our...
And here's a chain of pads. A lot of them are very popular maintaining these floors. The challenge is, though, they're rigid, they're stiff. A lot of them have some sort of an aggregate in it. And we don't really want to use aggregate to clean. We would rather have that microfiber with that scrub strip reaching into the embossing and textures of floors and be able to suspend that soil within the solution, and then the squeegee assembly comes by and removes it from that surface. A lot of times, traditional pads, I brought along the sample, we see things like this where it gets overloaded and it gets trapped, all the soil and debris, and what happens is you're just spreading it around, and it gives it a consistent film on the surface. Where when you utilize the microfiber scrub pad, it's able to reach in and clean and suspend that soil.
All right, so let's get one of our product managers, Gift Timothy. He's going to operate our auto scrubber and demonstrate how we're going to clean this LVT.
So right now, he's running the machine with the pad underneath it, dispensing just a little bit of water, and right behind it is a squeegee assembly that's removing or sucking up that slurry from the floor into the recovery tank.
Now, even though this has some scrubbing potential, this is not an abrasive product.
There is zero abrasives in it. It is plastic. I mean, it's microfiber as well as little scrub strips. Yep, but it's aggregate free.
All right, and so now we're looking at it. The spill is gone. The auto scrubber has effectively picked up the spill, and I know that we might not necessarily be able to see that, but the slight embossing in that LVT, the microfiber is able to reach in there and provide sort of a deeper level of clean. Am I correct?
Absolutely correct.
While we were filming this, we noticed that there is a transition over here. So why don't we go over there and talk about how we should clean those areas?
Absolutely, let's walk over there.
All right, so what we've got right here is a transition from one type of LVT to another type of LVT.
Right.
Tell me about what we need to consider when cleaning.
So when maintaining these types of areas, we see typically with the traditional pads, the pad doesn't reach into like the grooves in the rubber section into the bolts or nuts or screws heads. And the other thing is, because it's rigid, this is high, this is low, and we have this edge here. The traditional pad does not clean this completely. When you go to the microfiber cleaning pad, the fibers reach into the small areas, all of it, the rubber, the nut heads, the screw heads, and is able to get it good and clean and maintain, and then it's just a consistent cleaning all the way across when you go across the surface.
So it reaches in, it grabs, it holds, so that this can be a pristine clean.
All the time.
So Jim, we've got the pad we've used to clean up this spill. Yes. Is it a pad that can go anywhere on any type of flooring?
The key to the success of this pad is it's universal. It can go from the floor, the area we just cleaned, we can now go over this and clean this area as well. So it's universal, and it can be used on any type of embossed or textured surface, or any irregularities, such as an expansion joint. It can be used on those areas as well.
Great. Well, let's get Gift to come in and show us how well it cleans.
Okay. So now it's on a floating head on the machine. The microfibers are going over the surface. It is a universal type of a cleaning pad, It adjusts to the contours, cleans it all, and once it goes over, it can keep on going onto any other type of a surface.
So you can have sort of a universal experience with one pad going across multiple types of hard surface
Multiple
flooring.
types. You could just keep on going. Well, so now we've seen it go across the floor. It went over the discussion or transition on this. Sometimes we even see areas on a floor where the expansion joint maybe telegraphs a little bit from underneath, and you see like a little hump or a little apex to the flooring. I think I saw some over here. Let's take a look at some of those areas too. Hey, come on over here, look at this. We were looking at the spaces over there, but I noticed when we were walking the whole space that there is looks like an expansion joint that runs this whole length, and you can see it's like a little bit raised, right? There's a little bit of an apex underneath the floor. So what's happened is the transition is telegraphing through the tile, and it's becoming visible on top. So that apex is going to be a challenge to maintain, because when you're using traditional pads, it's constantly grinding on that apex of the floor and abrading it and wearing it quicker than what it should be. By utilizing microfiber, now it's cleaning it consistently. And right here we even see a little bit of a gap in the floor tile, right at the seam, and that's making it open up a little bit. It's a source where dirt can get in. Traditional pads won't reach into there. When you use the microfiber, it reaches in, suspends the soil in the solution, vacuums up right behind the auto scrubber.
Now, I've heard that some of the issues you can have with maybe something that's a little bit more abrasive is it can degrade some of that embossing or that ticking.
Exactly.
Perhaps create a safety hazard. It becomes slick.
It's smoothing out. You're spot on. It's smoothing out that surface and making it so that it's not what it was when it was originally manufactured. You now have altered it when you use any type of an abrasive type of material to maintain a no wax or no floor finish, or what they call a factory coated floor. You're right.
Very good. So how do we clean something like that? You mentioned microfiber. It's
Yes.
not going to damage. It's going to lift the debris
Soil.
or the dirt.
Yep.
Without degrading that finish.
100%. Now we're in a dining area, so in this type of an area, we might want to use a little bit of a neutral cleaner, help break down some of the food material that gets onto the floor or spills, or there's a coffee bar over there. You have the sugars, the sweeteners, honey. So a neutral cleaner helps in breaking that stuff down, and then the pad will reach in, suspend all that soil, and the vacuum system picks it up, removes it from the surface. You have a beautifully clean floor without spreading any of that soil around. If we start to look, we see like a little bit of a haze on the floor, and that's because of the traditional pad not suspending it into solution. It's actually trapped in that weave, and it helps, or that weave then prevents it from leaving the pad.
All right, let's clean it up. So Jim, we've demonstrated the auto scrubber, but in any facility there's going to be areas where the auto scrubber simply just can't reach. So
Right.
what do we do in that situation?
So what we've seen when you're maintaining factory coated floors, there's that texture, there's that embossing, and traditional mops, the cotton mops, the rayon mops, the blended mops, they're just not capable of reaching in and moving all that particulate out of that texture. So microfiber is our friend. So we talk about microfiber flat mops, we talk about microfiber string mops. Those types of mops reach in, grab that soil that's in that embossing, in that texture, it lifts it off, removes it, and then you have a nice clean floor. So traditional mops do not remove all of that particulate from the embossing. It just doesn't reach in. Microfiber mops, whether it's a flat mop or microfiber string mop, reach in, grab that soil, hold on to it, take it off the surface, and you have a much cleaner floor. when you're maintaining a factory coated floor.
Perfect. Well, GIF is going to come in and demonstrate our score mop that is equipped with our Primera microfiber disposable mop pad and show us exactly how that works.
So as he's going across the floor, you see that he's spreading out the solution. But when you turn that mop head over and look at it, that's the soil that's removed from that surface because it's reaching in and grabbing that particulate out of that embossed floor, achieving expectations in regard to your level of cleanness. And again, we just made just a small area here. But you see what we're picking up is very, very small particulate that has been embedded into that texture.
You know, Jim, I know that a lot of times when people have cleaned their floors over and over, they get used to thinking that a dirty floor is actually clean just because it's uniformly dirty.
Yes.
So when we have something that gets in there, lifts it out of the embossing, it out of the ticking, it actually is removing the dirt, and you're going to see a noticeable difference.
A significant noticeable difference. You're right, when you see that consistent haze that's across that surface, it looks like you're cleaning the floor. When you start using that microfiber, whether it is the microfiber flat mops or the microfiber string mops, those take that to a level that you'll be so surprised at the end results. You know, there's a lot of LVT that is installed in this facility, but there's also some other types of floors that are in the other areas that have like grout. Again, we're talking about texture. We're talking about the factory coated floors having that texture of highs and lows, but grouted floor is another flooring that has highs and lows as well. Why don't we take a walk over to the restroom and see what the floor composition is in there?
Great.
Okay. Now, normally we don't just walk into any restroom and we just kind of, I don't know, say, hey, we're here. But why don't you step into my office? Let's take a look at this restroom.
Wait, I hope there's nobody in here.
It would be best than not.
We're good. No, it's locked. Okay, I think we're in the clear.
Okay.
All right. So you can come on in to the bathroom here. Obviously, a really common place that people go to in any facility.
Any facility. Number one flooring that's used in restrooms is grouted floors. Durability, its ability to resist staining, high traffic. One of the challenges, though, is when you're maintaining these types of floors, there is the surface of the tile. Some of those surfaces of the tile have an embossing or texture to it as well, but then there's a lower part, or the grout area, where traditional, again, your cotton mops, your rayon mops, your blended mops, traditional mops, they just don't have the ability to reach into that grouted surface and get that dirt out. So what happens is your traditional mopping process just kind of spreads things around. Yeah, so if we start looking along the edge and in areas where the traditional mopping and cleaning process isn't being performed, we see that the grout is actually supposed to be gray. By utilizing a microfiber flat mop, a microfiber string mop, or the contact pad with the scrub strips in it, what we're going to do is we're going to reach into that texture of the tile as well as the grouted areas, get that soil out, suspend it in the solution, and then get it vacuumed off, and you'll get the floor back to a nice pretty gray, and you'll be having a very, very happy customer.
Absolutely. Now, I would believe that the bathroom is one of the areas that you want to remove both soil, dirt, and then potential contamination that somebody can track on their feet
and
out to the other facility. Yeah.
Yep, you're spot on. And that's why it's so vital to get these areas clean so that it does not track.
All right, Jim, we've cleaned the floor, so now here comes the fun part. We're going to take the pad off and kind of see the results of that. So
Well,
I'm
let's
going
take
to
a
get
look.
GIF, come take the pad off. right. Wow. So if you remember, I think the pad was white with blue stripes. Now we've got gray.
Yeah, so you can see that there's the pad that did not touch the floor. So when we talked about the pad being able to reach in and grab that soil, it's actually suspending it into the solution of the that's being dispensed out. It's suspending the soil in the solution, and then the vacuum system is actually sucking up and removing it from the flooring. This is what was on that surface, and we just did a small area of cleaning.
So how often are we going to use one of these pads? How does the machine function with these pads?
So good question. The pad, we've just done we'll call it a corrective cleaning, where we've actually gone in and removed a lot of soil that was in that embedded embossing. Now, subsequent cleaning, this facility does cleaning every day. The pads become less and less soiled like this, and it will not look like this. Come by the time you're done, I don't know, 5 days of cleaning, it will not look like this at all.
Yeah, so this is more of a corrective clean.
Yes.
You would use a different pad for the more maintenance, more daily stuff after we've used the corrective.
Sure. There's other pads, microfiber pads, that is available through Contec that has the ability to do routine maintenance and corrective cleaning.
So I'm just going to show just kind of a side-by-side comparison. This is the used pad, and then we've got the unused pad, so you can kind of see the difference there in color. So yeah, we picked up a lot of dirt, debris, possible contamination, and removed it from your facility.
So one of the keys to this also is we're basing our pad selection on soil load, the surface, and foot traffic. Those are the three components that when you're doing like a site survey or you're evaluating what type of pads to use, those are the three major components. So this type of pad is going to be the type of pad ideal for these types of areas: heavy soil load, heavy foot traffic, and the texture and embossing of this floor. So you can use this pad for other areas, or you can even use a different pad for smoother surfaces, less traffic. Contec has a variety of different pads to maintain different surfaces. We could probably look at a few other areas too.
Yeah, we've done the LVT, so let's move on to some flooring, some other typical types of flooring that you might encounter in a facility.
Wow.
It's a nice space.
It's beautiful space. It's impressive. Terrazzo floors. Totally different though than what we were at in the cafeteria area. That cafeteria was textured. You could see it, you could feel it. This, perfectly flat, perfectly smooth. Not necessary to have that type of a corrective cleaning pad or that little scrub strips.
So we have the Primera single-use microfiber autoscrubber pad. This is going to be more for your daily maintenance care of the floors, and it's going to provide that extra mechanical removal that we need to kind of sweep up the debris and get it out of the space.
Yes. So when you have a perfectly flat, perfectly smooth surface, we really don't need the extra scrub strips. It's just not necessary. This is designed more for flat surfaces. Your natural stones, your marbles, any type of polished concrete surfaces, wax surfaces, your VCTs that have the floor finish on it. If they're smooth, it's flat, it's consistent, then this pad is really, really good to maintain those types of surfaces. It has microfiber all throughout it, so it's really doing a really detailed cleaning of the space. The other beautiful thing is it's universal. We can use it on any of this. So in this beautiful building, they have multiple surfaces. They have the LVT floors, they have polished concrete, they have grouted floors in the restrooms, and as well as the stone. So this is one pad, all the floors within this facility.
Now, I know that a lot of times traditionally people, when they're thinking of auto scrubbers, they're thinking about those different colored pads.
Yes.
And this might seem a lot different to them to use something that is like this. So what is the benefit in using something like this for daily care versus some of the different colored, more agitation pads?
Good question. So this is one pad, all floors, one facility, one space. There's no guessing on if you have the different colors, which one, if you have an employee that maybe is fairly new to the system or to the space and maintaining it, or maybe you have someone that's substituting or filling in for someone that's out. The challenge is what pads to use, and if you have an array of colors, that's not a good choice because they may choose the wrong one because they don't know. When you have microfiber, it's one pad, universal, all space, all flooring. The other key component too is when you have a single pad maintaining all areas, you've reduced your SKUs. Right? You don't need to have all those colored pads anymore. We just have one pad, all floors, one SKU. It's simple training, it's easy, it's effective, it's efficient. It's a win-win for the facility and the people that are maintaining the floor.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
Perfectly
People can
worded.
just grab one, they know they've got the right pad.
Absolutely.
Great. We've already attached this pad to the auto scrubber that we're using.
Okay.
We're going to get Gift to come in here and give us a demonstration.
Awesome, let's get it going.
So Gift's going over a very smooth surface floor.
Yep.
He's using the P2 pad. It's going to pick up that debris, lock it away, so it's not distributing the
Nope.
soil and debris. It's locking it in.
And it's being picked up right behind it with the squeegee assembly. Yep. Simple, effective, efficient. Absolutely.
And then when he's done, he takes that dirty pad, throws it away. There's not a chance we're going to use that in any other facility.
So it depends on the soil load. Most of the time when using and cleaning in this area, there's a good possibility you can have an extended use period for this type of a pad because of the fact that it's very, very light in the soil load. So you could potentially keep it on for a couple cleanings. Again, depending on the soil load, we don't need to necessarily have to have it go one time only.
Yeah, somebody could use this for an entire shift.
Entire shift?
Yeah, depending
Absolutely.
on the soil load.
Depending on the soil load. Like, for instance, there's been no events in here, so can this one pad be used for an extended period of time? Absolutely. Now, if there's been an event and there's a lot of soil and dirt and debris that's come in, then yes, you may use it one time and then decide to dispose of it.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. You did really good at that, yeah. So we're going to take a look at that pad now and see the soil load. Okay, so Jim, exactly what you're talking about. This isn't a facility that's used a lot, but we still got a significant amount of dirt.
We got a lot of dirt out, even if it's a perfectly flat surface, but you can see that the soil load is not a lot, right? Yes, there's some along the perimeter, but still there's plenty of cleaning capabilities within this area as well, so we can continue to use it. Again, we don't want to overextend the use time because then we get overloaded and no longer effective in cleaning. So absolutely, looks good.
So we don't have a lot of soil load on this.
Sure.
And perhaps we've got a different type of hard surface flooring that we have to clean in the same facility.
Yeah, so for instance, in this facility, once we're finished in this area on the terrazzo floor, you can then certainly move to the LVT floor. You can move downstairs to the floor that has the polished concrete, and you can move into the restrooms, which has the grouted floor as well. So one pad, all surfaces, it's a universal, and it'll keep the floor looking nice.
Yeah, so our workers who are cleaning these facilities, they're not having to stop, change out the pads. They've got one pad that'll do all of the floors.
We're being more productive, we're being efficient with time, achieving expectations very, very easily, absolutely.
All right, Jim, we've been in an area where there's been a lot of foot traffic, a lot of dirt and debris in the student dining facilities,
Yep.
and we've been over here where there's not a lot of heavy foot traffic and very smooth floors. So, you know, when we've got a wide spectrum of different flooring in a specific facility, what are some of the main things we need to consider when we're talking about floor care and maintenance?
So the reason I like this system is it's encompassing of all floors. It doesn't matter whose floor it is. The other key component is it doesn't matter what type of floor it is. And you brought up an excellent point. When you're in a cafeteria where you have a heavily embossed surface with high traffic and the soil is greases and oils and things of that nature, then you have that system that can take care of that. When you have an area that has perfectly flat, perfectly smooth surfaces, the terrazzos, the polished concretes, you have a pad that can take care of those types of floors as well. So the system is a benefit to the whole industry. We're talking all floor care, and we're talking all facilities. We're raising the standard of floor care across the whole industry, and it's because of this system that the level of cleanliness has now been raised to a higher standard, and it's a benefit to all the employees and staff. It's microfiber, it's trapping, it's holding the soil. It's a benefit to the facility, the building itself, in that now we're containing the dirt. It's not going into the HVAC system or on the surfaces. And then the other key component is it's simple.
Jim, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of this information, and especially for your collaboration throughout the... GIF! It was a fun shoot. We're back here in Studio 289 with Jim Toth Jr., who you saw on the video there, also with our Business Development Director, Todd Kleeman, to just discuss a couple of things that we saw in the video. My first question is, a lot of people who see this video are really unfamiliar with, putting a microfiber pad on an auto scrubber. They're more familiar, Jim, with this kind of thing. Walk us through sort of what they're used to seeing versus what they were shown in that video.
Yeah, so for many, many, many years, traditional pads have been on the market. There's about, right now, I would say in the neighborhood of about 30 to 40 different colors of different types of pads. Very confusing. Most of these types of pads, traditional pads, have some sort of a aggregate in it. It varies all the way from talc to diamonds, and then it's everything in between, and the amount of that material is in them. So, these are the typical pads utilized every day for a long, long time, too long.
And they all have separate uses. There's
Yes.
some that are more abrasive, some less abrasive.
Sure.
But one of the things that I think probably they fall short in is they're not ideal for every single type of hard surface flooring.
No, you have to change pads based on either what your task is doing, what you're trying to clean, buffing, just plain cleaning, stripping, removing old floor finishes off of floors. There's different colors, there's hog's hairs, they have so many different variations to try to achieve different expectations.
Absolutely. And sometimes it can be difficult
Very
to
difficult.
know which one to use, where.
Right. Well, especially if you're brand new to the industry. If you just, you got hired on to, maintain a facility, or you're part of an environmental service group or a building service contractor, having these options, it's like, which color do I grab? Which one do I use? I'm cleaning this area. Well, which area is that one? So many different, too many options, too many variations, too many different types of floors. It does get very, very confusing at times.
Absolutely. One of the things we alluded to in that video you just saw was the fact that certain types of flooring, specifically LVT, can have an embossing that if you use a pad with this high agitation, it can wear down the actual factory finish of that, maybe have a safety hazard involved, or certainly damage
Right.
the investment of the flooring.
Well, it's not necessarily the agitation component, but it's slowly flattening out that emboss, that texture.
It's polishing,
Yes.
basically.
Basically, it is. You're right, and but why? When you do that, you're changing the structure of that embossing, and so now you're no longer having that factory coating finished to its specifications. It's now you've altered it. So now, that's why these types of pads are at times not very, very good for factory coated floors.
Absolutely. Todd, tell us a little bit about the products that we saw used in the video. We've got some samples of them right here.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about how they work and sort of why they were made. What was the why behind it?
Well, Jim found out pretty early on that microfiber is the best material to clean LVTs with all of its embossings. And we have two here. One more of the white one is more of a daily maintenance where you're going over LVT surfaces or any type of flooring surfaces. Will pick up the dirt, it'll clean, it'll leave a nice shine. And then there's some high traffic area issues we talked about in the video, the high soil load, the foot traffic, the indentations, where something with a little bit more of a scrub strip, which is this blue, will help cut through a lot of that dirt. So this still has microfiber in it, but it also has a scrub strip, and it's very effective, as we saw in the video, for cleaning LVT and other surfaces.
Absolutely. There's the scrub sort of helps break down some of maybe that buildup that's been on a floor for a while.
Buildup is the key.
Yes.
I think that's the key word that we can go in on. When you have that embossing or texture or grout line or escutcheons or expansion joints or something that where soil has accumulated, that scrub strip actually helps in getting that soil that's in that and impacted or embedded, suspending it, getting into the solution, and then vacuum system pulls it up. So yes, very, very important.
Tell me about the longevity of one of these pads. We mentioned in the video about soil load. So tell me, how often do I use this pad versus this one, and how long will these pads last in terms of maybe a shift or
Great
coverage?
question. Yeah, so it's like that. It's kind of, I think of it as a continuum. Like you've got a high soil load, high foot traffic, very challenging floor to clean, versus something that's maybe light foot traffic or floor 7 on a hospital that doesn't get much use. So that really will make the determination of how long the pad will last. Shift at least, no doubt. We've in trials we've seen people do it for 3 shifts. Wouldn't recommend it. And it also determines, or it's also going to be based on like an operating room. Do you really want to use the pad over and over again in the operating room? Probably a single use for that time. So it gives you flexibility to choose, but it's certainly, as the physics of it is that it's getting the dirt out of the floor, it's suspended in the solution, and the vacuum picks it up behind it.
I will add on to that too. One of the key things is we as a flooring manufacturer, we call it corrective cleaning, where we need to get the floor back to baseline. And that blue stripe pad enables us to get that embedded soil out, like you were saying, suspending it in that solution so that the vacuum system gets it physically off the floor. So does the blue stripe need to be used daily? No, it maybe once, twice, 3 times, just to get all that embedded soil off and out, and then you can move on back to, or move to just a plain white.
Now, in the video, we demonstrated more the traditional round scrubber pads, but currently we have several different sizes, several different shapes available. Would you speak a little bit to that?
Sure. Yeah, we with Jim, we kind of determined what are the most popular sizes of the machines, rectangular and circular, and our manufacturing process allows us to cut those pretty efficiently on any size.
Sure. So from small, large, any kind
exactly.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
Now tell me a little bit about, but this is a little bit different of an attachment process. You can take perhaps these multicolored pads, put those on, but we also have an adapter thing that we use to attach it. So this is part of the process as well.
So Jim, jump in here. But normally there's a pad driver that these abrasive pads just stick to nicely.
Right. It's like a Velcro type of a pad driver. And it's 1 inch thick or so, the traditional pads, and then that adheres to the little Velcro strips or Velcro on that pad driver, and then when it's attached, you start swirling around, or on the square machines, it's that oscillation type of process. Yep.
So one of the things we had to do is, because a fabric like this or a textile like this won't stick to a pad driver, we needed to create a connector product. So what this does is it's the connector pad between this and the pad driver, and you would just stick it down, and then this whole assembly attaches to the pad driver. And this is mismatched, of course, but we have sizes for every sizes of connector pads for every size of product that we have.
Absolutely. What are the things that we maybe didn't cover in the video that you think probably people might want to know about this entire system of auto scrubber pads?
We did a lot of cleaning on a variety of different floors. Over our trials and testing and we've been doing this for a little over a year now in the product development process, we've seen that this pad can be used on, and we're not going to say all, because there might be one floor, but virtually every floor covering that is out there resilient, let's make that clear too, resilient floor, it can be used on. It's universal. We no longer have to choose what type of a pad you're going to be utilizing to clean with. Now, yeah, you're still going to have some of these pads if you're utilizing a floor finish system or waxing and stripping and removing. But even if you use this system to maintain a floor finish floor, your strip and recoat cycle becomes extended because we're no longer using whatever pad that you're using, red pad or whatever, to maintain it, because you're always scratching the surface. When you move to microfiber to maintain, now it's just microfiber. So now you're keeping that finish smooth.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here and kind of diving deeper into the process and the products here. We're going to move into our third session, but before we do, we want to give just a couple of plugs to a couple of different organizations that we're a part of. Contec Professional is the proud sponsor of Skillset Go, which is an educational program from the Association for the Healthcare Environment. Skillset Go is a training and development initiative designed to help environmental services professionals enhance their skills and competencies. The program focuses on key areas crucial for success in healthcare environments, including infection prevention, patient safety, and operational efficiency. We're going to drop that chat, the link to that program in the chat right now, so we encourage you to check it out, especially if you have an EVS team. Before we move on, I will say that whenever we go to a shoot like this, it's always a lot of fun, and as I learned, as well as we all did, the cameras are always rolling. So we have some
Seriously?
extras that we thought we would share.
No way.
And we'll go ahead and roll that.
Well, let's watch that. You need to edit that out.
Jamie, will you give us a clap? All right, whenever you're ready, clap and go. All right, Jamie, clap and we're good.
Let's talk about this transition and what we need to be
When you turn the
thinking about.
corner, our cameras are in there. Clap and then you're good. Okay, I wasn't listening completely.
We'll only get you. I love you still, don't worry.
Are we cleaning this? Sorry.
You got that?
I got it.
Do you want me to write it down for you?
I think I got it.
You got it.
I do.
You are a professional.
I'm very
I
professional.
heard you were in the news business one
I
day.
was. Go, Geff, go. Toro, Toro.
We're ready.
Clap.
Is there anything else?
Oh, that was not. Oops.
Well, we're done in here. So
No,
we'll
yes,
move on.
we're done here. We'll move on to the next one. Okay.
I want to do one of those 90s show freeze frame endings where we're like,
That's good.
oh gosh. I want to thank the multimedia team here
Yes,
at
thank you
Contec
very much for that.
Professional for making
Yes.
sure everything was documented.